Everyone, today I'll be talking about the ionic3 and the Firebase. We are uploading the file into the Firebase database, storing into the database, and retrieving as well. Okay, come on guys, so let's start with the command prompt. So I usually give the command prompt and then set run as administrator just in case if you need any kind of a help in the future. And just for everyone's perspective, I would like to increase the font size so that it is makes visible over the screen. And I use so this should be fine. This should be fine. So hopefully this helps you in terms of the commands that you're going to use it. Some of the free stuffs are like, we would have been installed the Node.js libraries and as well as the npm libraries before we started. And there are certain to use the some of the offline at the databases like CouchDB and so forth, but anyway, I'm using the online, so it is not required at this point in time. So let's check the versions what we have. So I am going to check with the Node version first. So my Node version is 8.4, which is the latest and greatest, and my npm version is which is the latest one in the pack. So before we start, there are two fundamental stuff which we need to install as a Node package manager, which is the ionic framework and the Cardova framework. So let's proceed with installing those things. npm install ionic and Cardova. So when we don't give any kind of versions, then it will take the latest and the greatest one, and we first install this string. Take a while. This will install all the dependencies and libraries for the both versions, which is the ionic and the Cardova. Once the installation done, you'll see the two packages, which is ionic 3.9.1 and the Cardova 7.1.1. Just the latest version. And of course you can also find now the ionic command prompt is set. So you can say ionic info. It gives information about your CLIs, what has been the mod package installed, and if you see the package will do this. It's on the app data, and the user is admin and npm and the node modules. Under that all the libraries are loaded. And it gives two information. One is the CLI packages, which is ionic CLI3, which is 1.9.2, and ionic CLI commands, which we use to generate the pages, directives, and also the start of the package of the entire application itself. Coming to the system level, so it also talks about the what node engine which we are using, which is the version 8.4.0, npm 5.3.0, and the operating system which I'm using is Windows 10. So let's go to the placeholder where we would like to create the project, and I would keep my directory as ionic3, since I'm working on the ionic3 project. So let's start creating a project. Let's see what all we get as the ionic command itself. So this gives us the various command CLI interfaces. Talks about there are like config, which talks about manage the CLI and project config values, like where you can do get and set, and the documentation, which refers to the documentation open and documentation. The info, which gives you the appends on the console, your system and environmental stuff, and ionic login, which is real time, which goes and try to log in onto the ionic website, and where you can create the project, you can publish the project, and so forth. The sign up is the one when you want to create a new account with an ionic site. The one which we're talking about today, where significance is, which talks about how to create a new project. So we're going to use a word called start. So I'm going to use this ionic start. Basically, when I give that, what it does, it will ask me for a project specification. What do you like the name of the project? Let's say I'm using upload file to database. Upload file to file database. So just the name for app, and this will be my project, and there are various kind of project it creates with the information. For example, if I would like to have the project created or the startup tool created with the tabs, then use the tabs. If you want to use it a blank, you can use a blank one which has nothing. I start fresh with the home page. If I want to have an existing side menu, then I go for the side menu ones, which will have the content area and the menu also displayed. Super is the project complete pre-built pages, provides the best practices and interfaces. There are projects demonstrates real world app like conferences, tutorials, like they give the base self-state with ionic documentation which you can use it. And of course there is an integration with AWS as well, which uses the start for Amazon Web Services as well. For this demo purpose, so I'm going to use this blank. The project type is a blank. And now it starts creating a fetches the master.zip file from the you should have the git installed. So it tries and get that master file, and it also gets the ionic startup kit the blank one, and creates your project, which is called upload file to Firebase app. So that creates the complete structure of the project by itself, which you can run and then see in the browser. Once it runs the successful creation of the startup package, you'll see that there is a message says that run your application in the browser. This when you want to run as a desktop, and then see that it's for the initially for the development. See that your application is working. That is what we're going to test it now. Then you can run on the simulators. Simulators, you can run on Android, you can run on iPhone. Simulators if you have, or you can run directly on devices as well. There's a separate one which we're going to talk about. So test and share your application. Your ionic3, this is where you want to deploy it. So you can deploy as well. The current trend is once you create an app, basically you deploy that directly to the app stores and the stores of the iPhone and as well as Android. So what exactly we have to do? So basically what it does is it creates the structure. Let's go through the structure first. So let me go to that file, the CD, upload. This is what we created, an app. So we go to that file, have the directory, and then see what we have. So this will, when it does that, so it creates certain structure. One is you see that the Git, it has downloaded the whole package structure from the Git, which will have the hooks, config.xml, and a config.json node modules, which is where exactly the all packages are stored. And it also creates the lock onto the package.json. And this is the package.json which will have the information. There is a readme, resources, source file. So these resources will have your images and so forth. The directory which you see, www, which is your runtime directory, which will be deployed. And whatever you write here, it will be converted from the TypeScript into the JavaScript and be loaded into the www root. And whatever you want to create the resources, this could be images, it could be your files, whatever you wanted to put in, those things you can put it into the resources. And this is a very brief introductory of the structure. So once we have this, let me run the as itself, which is a blank application, which you will run first. Let me run that one. So, alright, and hit enter. We'll run and open the browser with the blank one. And if you see, it is listening to the port, which is 8100. Means whenever the application is loaded at the local host, it opens that 8100. You will see the ionic blank page. The word is your register, and this is your documentation link. So there is running the ionic -t, which gives the tabs, which shows that the different views of your so this one, so now I wanted to show you guys the way where we run the different versions of the Android for the Windows and the iPhone. You see here we get the components, API references, these are the links, and if you see these platforms, iPhone it is showing right now. You're going to click on Android phones, it display the Android phones and also Windows phone. So all these 3 phones will be displayed. Okay, 1, 2, 3. So, for example, if we change something, let me show that as well. So let me open this project. I use the webstone. Okay, I just opened that the file upload to Firebase database, and as we discussed on the structure, I have resources like Android and iOS which will be deployed here. This will be created here. This will have all those icons and splashes and images. Coming back to this one, so we have pages which we are seeing, which is being displayed as this. So let's say this, let's say file upload app. File upload app, and to showcase the file upload to cloud-based Firebase. Then, okay, we'll prepare the whole thing for the file upload. I'm just using it just to show you guys how quickly when I save this file and you see the same reflection right here. So my title has been changed and the wording has been changed, as you people see here. And suppose if I change and then give that as further equal to secondary save it, I go. You can see immediate reflection of this, and this is where ng binding and all the things work in the ionic framework. Okay, so let's implement the file upload stuff. The first thing is I will try to update here about the file upload browser. Hosting the page. Just 1 second. Let me write the dev. So here I am using ionic label. The color is red. Enter the page which is upload the file. This basically which says that I need to pick up the multiple file, and then I'm using the input type is file multiple, and this is the element which we use it for mapping and control class, basically to identify the files which is coming in. And there's a button which says that upload file, and which will call this particular event new controller, then this execution starts. Okay, so we have done up to the here, then we have the MTS. This is where we write the code, of course, here, and of course we need to have a service layer which will go and write it to the database. Today I'm going to talk a little bit about the Angular Fire offline as well. So this is the basically when you use this Angular Fire to read and write the Firebase while offline as well. That's the beauty of it. So even when your application is up and running, and sometimes we have the network issues which goes down the phone, so still you can use this app. So once you have downloaded this app and then you started using it, and still you can work towards the offline management. Suppose if we are doing some kind of application, there's a hotel management, it could be any other aspects where you want to update that information and keep it there. And whenever you come online, it syncs back to your application. Some of these deparameterizations which you call here is, suppose if you're doing any kind of an on-site online buying the products and all, there you can't use it because you have the inventory, and towards the inventory you'll have some of the basic creation of orders and so forth. So this is good, like where you have you can still wait for this information can come online whenever it is required, or wherever you have more read kind of capabilities, like feedback forms and such things where you wanted to get the customer information, just like sending the feedback, cleaning the appointments, which is generally it's good use for the doctors. Kind of stuff where they need this information. As it becomes available, it will be storing back into the Firebase, and it can be overlooked by the team. So that's where you can use this, where you have something which you can manipulate and put that in the databases. That's the source I want to give it. So I given this site information as well, which is again we can go through Designer to Firebase one, so which gives the reading of it can read the object, it can read the list, it can write the object, write the list. These are the fundamental stuff, and they're given the explanation here. And basically we'll be installing this first. The packages will be installed, and then we'll write and I will also tell you how exactly we have to configure in the Firebase as well. Let's go back and then stop this for a while, and we will execute that command. Copy, and when I use the save, so what it happens is that saves to the current the directory of the node modules, and as well as overrides of the global as well. So let's install this three items which we're talking about: Angular Fire 2 offline, Angular Fire 2, and the Firebase. That's pretty much required for us to use this library to connect to the cloud-based Firebase. And you see, once we install it, the packages are added. This is the Firebase 4.3.4, Angular Fire 2 version. This is candidate version, and the offline 4.4, and that is 139 pages. So let's see that if you have any kind of surprises, package disturbances. So when you do ionic survey, and then you see the tab, nothing lab. So we see this again. If there are no errors, then we have this package is working. So then we can start creating the services, and then install those things from our no issues. So I put this 3 ones, so that you have all these types which you have a file upload, a button, and the choose file which has to be uploaded. Good. Till now we are good. So I'll just fill this, and now we need to create the services provider basically. So I'm using the generate provider. Now this is saying upload DB service. So you're going to create a services, and you see that it is generated. Okay. So if you go back to the upload file here, you see the provider and the provider services created. So since you see this is injectable, the service is injectable, and this should be added to your module as well. And it is like nowadays this CLI will also add your provider into the module as well, the app module, which is the first file which will execute, and this in turn calls the many other files, so which whatever we create, the declaration encodes, everything will be called from this module itself. Okay, so if this is done, we'll go back to here, and we will write the code. So the piece of code for doing that, and I will let you know in a moment. I'm back here. So I created by name db using uploaded db file, and there is a constructor where we will map it to the top line db, which we have done, and we import those. So we'll include those. Firebase, your database, what is this? And this is our DB name. And if you see this, like I'm trying to get that file uploaded files, reading these files here. This will end written back, and then the other one is the adding the file into the server. So I'm creating the promise which will ensure that this file is uploaded, and once this is uploaded, then it returns back the result component of the file. And what I'm trying to do is here I am pushing that to an array list. Since we use the observable the decorator here, which will ensure that it syncs with the file, which will act to the DB, and it also retrieve to the front end as the moment it gets that item back to the list. So this is what we're going to call them initial of loading of the file, which will be in the constructor, and once we add that again, the constructor will be called from the control class. This will retrieve those items as well. It is stored in the database. And this is all the services. So services are intact. So we want to ensure that all the things are done here properly, and also you can see while running this, if there is any specific errors. Specifically when we say SS is the server side login, console login, and the console login as well. So if at all, if there are any errors, we can see them. For example, I've not imported this piece, so it will show that there's an issue. And there is some issues in terms of the interfaces as well, which is the inside the module of the library which we have taken. So let me fix one by one. So this is nothing to do with our application altogether, but one thing which I need to do is import this piece, and let me import that first. You see that I put this particular file as well. The upload is gone now. There's not been here in terms of all problems. So if you see here, this is saying that there is a module which is the factory that needs to be imported fine. So this keeps on showing here until we resolve it. So let's go one by one inside this node module and go back to the error. It's on the Angular offline database list. Inside the list, I have the two things there. So go to this. Go offline. Insert this. The database I will use. Unless this one, I guess. Let's see it, what it is. Here, F4 list observable, and this interface inside the list, emulate query. Emulate query .ts. Right, so that's the one is showing the import problems. It asked me whether I wanted to edit this. Okay, so put this, let's say, control space, get this, and basically the path issue here. So one is done. Now this is the other one which has got the same issue. This should be like this. And there's a package problem. And the one we have is on the database TDS as well. So do this and go to this. This is the next problem will be this. Get this right off one shot. This is some other issue. That's what I did. There should be all set to go. Go back and see here. This again. To close all first. That is updating or not, I'm not sure. This is updated. This is good to go. So there's nothing else pending from this side. This is done. Let's go to the feed. There on first one is this. We'll change this. Good. And make this as well. Interface, so we have to have one more interface to change. It is interface D. This is the one where we have this fellow needs to be changed. Okay, we've done that. We're good to go. because we are referring to the internal model. That's why we need to run it again and again, otherwise it will not get reflected to the model. Oh, shucks. Okay, now we should be good to go. Ready to go. Good that we don't have any kind of an issue here. Right. That's cool. So we have that services also inside now. Now we have to write a logic for our home.js, that what we need to implement here. Now we are just trying to import all the services which you want to use it. So file service, and we have upload DB provider. I want to use this here. This stuff has done, so as I said in our HTML file, we were using the input which we are mapping here as the child, which will be referred by the elementer, and we'll read that input file from here. Okay, so let's go ahead writing the reading the information and saving it. First thing is we want to write the function which will be internal function which will be called by the ionic framework or Angular framework. As I said, this method is called bicycle of the ionic framework. So what we do is we use to controller the loading controller to show the message while the content is on processing, and here is where we retrieve from the file server with the uploaded files from the services, which is our upload DB service provider, which reads that and returns back the collection which is of 5 photos. We check if this is of the photos, then we do the loading business, means it's presenting here, it goes out this message, and then we will show the photos. Else, if there is no record found, we just dismiss this and read it back. Go back and show that there is no, what are the contents left over. So if there is no news, then and if there is no photos available, then nothing will show there. And in a console we print that there is no record found on this moment, so we don't have any kind of list available. There is another method which is called file upload. In this case we get that, as I said, with the native, the button is clicked and native element dot files, we get the files, and we iterate if there is a length of these files is 0, means we just click the button without selecting any of these files, we show the alert, and this alert is called here, which basically says no file selected, and then we say OK, and it presents the alert in get next. And also the user to select the particular file. If there are files exist, then we will create the loading controller, which is the where the content is saving. Then we call the promise. Then we have the file info of files, which is the collection object of files. Then we do a conversion of this to base 64, and we get the 64 specific object. And how do we do that? This is where we do that. So we convert that to block 64. So basically we have a reader on load end. Since after reading this file, we'll convert that to base 64 string. And we'll read as the data URL as a block. So they use this as the URL as the block for reading the whole content of the file. So once the control comes back here, then we have the base64 file, and then there is an output as base64 string object, and this is where we add that into the server, and we store the string as a server into the cloudbase server, and with this server. So once we do this, this file is stored into the database. So what is the database we store in with? That's in your service area, which we did just a couple of minutes ago. It be stored into the uploaded DB file there. And let's see. There are some import problems which we have to do it here. So let me go to the LTS and then add observer list is what we wanted. So the looking added. Then another we need a view child. And for that as well. Some element trust is an object. There is also imported the next thing. So yes, I will start. I think everything is intact. Do we have any errors? No, absolutely fine. So if the provider is not there, we have that up. If you really need to add the providers there, so I'll go to the module, and here we need to add this many of them. Modules, database module, and of course HTTP module also, has to be hook module. So once we have this, let's see whether we resolved it. So there's a call to the service regarding it. See that. To the services, correct. Very important, that error what we are seeing here, we have not configured the Firebase config. I have just created them, and this is where we initialize the module with the Firebase constant, which is this, and this is my one particular one. So you have to create them, so I will show you how to do it, but there is the import problem, so I need to import as well the Firebase one. So I got them up. So then it's good to go now. Yes. So you can see them, like, the file upload is ready, and we'll go here and try to find some images. So here's this one, and upload. Now this file. So here is the final outcome of the image upload, and you see this getting uploaded every time. So I go and click on it, it will get uploaded here. So this is the end of the tutorial. I want to show you guys the last piece of it, which is the Firebase console. So where it is getting and loading the storing the images. Just go there in a moment. So I'll go to the database. This is my first. Just see my upload DB. These are the 4 projects. So I can delete all these files just to show you guys. So I did all delete all these files. I'll go back to this browser, and you see other pattern how it works. So let me go through it and do an upload. So you see my images coming in. So this is, again you go back here and you see that file is right here. Right, that's the end of the tutorial. And for the first piece which I want to show you, you need to create the rules as well. This rules you have to make the read and write as true, otherwise you're not able to store into the database. And one of the finite information is when we go here, this is where you're going to get the Firebase initial context. So this you need to copy and then use it for the module initialization, which I told you earlier. That's on app-module.ts. You need to get this Firebase config, and you initialize that by using the Angular file model initialize app with the Firebase config. This is how this is the load of it. It connects to the database of your cloud, and this is the same way where you can also use the storage. This is the file storage, so you can also use the same file storage and then store it as well. So I showed you the one way of doing is the DB. The other way is of using the file store. That's the end of my tutorial. I hope you had a good learning, and I see your feedback, and then I'll take it forward. Thank you for your time. Thank you very much for your time. Let me know about your reviews on the same. Thank you. Have a good day. Bye-bye.